Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. What you guys see up on the screen right now is the updated LCS playoff bracket. Obviously, this past week, we got to see the TSM EG series and the 100 Thieves versus Dig series. Again, I had some problems with how the schedule worked out. I absolutely think that C9TL should have been last week as well. I think it would have been really hype. I think we want to see the top teams playing more often. So last week wasn't really that interesting. I didn't really care about either series that much. TSM EG was not super hype and exciting. 100 Thieves and Dignitas was even less hype and exciting. But at least this week, we have a little bit bigger matchups. TSM 100 Thieves, C9TL, honestly the four biggest fan bases in the LCS. So this should be great for viewership. It should be great for action. I think, you know, these series are much closer than the series we saw last weekend. And overall, it should be really hype and exciting. So we'll be talking about the past weekend series a little bit. I don't want to talk too much because I don't really have that much to say. They were kind of boring. But then looking ahead to this week, giving my thoughts and opinions, kind of breaking down each of these two matchups, giving some of my updated predictions, and then hopefully getting your guys' thoughts, opinions, predictions, all that stuff too, because this looks to be an awesome week of LCS playoff action. But before we get into that, I just want to mention real quick, if you guys have not already, please take a second and smash that like button. I would appreciate it so much. It really helps me out the YouTube algorithm, an awesome way to help support my channel and my content if that's something you're interested in doing. Also subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. We just recently hit 6,500 subscribers, which is absolutely insane. So thank you guys so much. That is awesome. Hopefully more from here. Hopefully 7,000 is, you know, on the horizon, but here we go. So this past weekend, we'll talk about 100 Thieves Dignitas first. Dignitas is a team that obviously overperformed a little bit in the regular season. People were not expecting them to be as good as they were, but then even I've been saying that I don't think they're as good as their record says. Yes, they've been way better than people expected. People expect them to be like a 9th place team, maybe even a 10th place team, and they finished 5th. But when you look at some of their wins, they had no business getting some of the wins that they got during the season, even though, yes, they were still better than people expected. So I didn't expect them to have that good of a playoff run. They had 2 rookie solo laners, a rookie AD carry, you know, a lot of stuff that doesn't necessarily make me think of a super successful playoff team. And yes, this was an awesome split for a lot of those guys. Hopefully they continue to develop into the future and everything. But going up against 100 Thieves with veterans all over, guys who have been there, done this, even though 100 Thieves hasn't looked great, even though we still don't really know what exactly is going on in the mid lane, like Ryoma still is not looking that good. I was very confident that they're going to be able to get this done. I don't know if I predicted 3-2 or 3-1, but I felt like 100 Thieves would be able to get it done, and they did. Awesome. I still think in these games, Ryoma had a couple weird plays where he gets caught out. He keeps having this issue where he doesn't want to use his flash. He's saving his flash, like whatever. I think 100 Thieves didn't really prove too much to me in this series. Yes, they're good. Yes, they're better than Dignitas, but I already thought they were better than Dignitas, but it didn't prove to me that they're better than any of these top 3 teams. I still think C9 and TL and then TSM are on a whole different tier, a whole nother level. Maybe 100 Thieves is, you know, better than EG, better than Dig, but I still think they're a little bit below these other teams. But they got the job done. 3-0, awesome, great, you know. It was what it was. I don't think anyone was too hyped about this series, but it was a thing. Then we had TSM EG, where still TSM were coming in as heavy favorites, but there were some people, whether it's just TSM haters or whatever you want to call it, or some people who, you know, TSM showed legitimate issues against Team Liquid, and Evil Geniuses is a crazy team, and Impact was maybe the MVP of the split, and Jizuke has been hot sometimes, and definitely has maybe been a little bit better than people expected, and this EG team is talented. Svenskeren and Ignar, you know, they're playoff veterans. They've done good things domestically and internationally in all the different regions they've played in. So I was a little bit worried. I think I did predict TSM 3-1. And again, I still think TSM is solidly above these teams, and I'm not surprised that TSM just kind of stomped them in the games that they won. Yes, Evil Geniuses obviously was able to take a game, but TSM has shown some of those consistency issues throughout the whole year, so I don't think that's anything too new. I don't think that's anything to panic about. And also, you know, they're just trying out a bunch of different drafts and everything. So that was that. Again, TSM handled them pretty easily, handled them pretty well. That's great. Now, getting into the next week's matchups, we finally get this matchup between C9 and TL. Preseason, these were the 2 favorites. These were the 2 ranked as the best teams throughout, you know, the lock-in tournament. They were the 2 best teams. Obviously, Team Liquid took them down in the finals. And throughout the regular season, CLOUD9 was the #1 team pretty much the whole way. Team Liquid was not, but now Team Liquid is ramping up. They're catching up. They, you know, handled TSM pretty well, 3-1 in the opening series. And yes, CLOUD9 had a clean 3-0, but again, I don't think 100 Thieves is necessarily on this level, so I don't, you know, maybe put as much weight into that series as I do as TL taking down TSM. And also in that TL-TSM series, I thought that Jensen and Tactical looked much better than they had throughout a lot of the regular season, and more specifically Jensen. And if Jensen is able to keep up this high level of play, obviously that'll be tough against Cloud9, going up against Perks, but I think it's possible, and to me, that makes TL really, really scary. TL also handled this team during the regular season. They handled them during the lock-in finals, and I think TL is probably a more talented team overall. Yes, Tactical has had his issues. This has definitely not been his best split, but he has had some good moments still, and yes, this has not been Jensen's best split either, but still, I think if you're talking about the worst player on either team, or the most liable player on either team for kind of losing a game or losing a series or whatever, I would still have to say it's Fudge. Even though he's had some weeks in some games where he's been looking better, he still definitely worries me the most. I still think Alfari is probably the best player on either team. You know, I think he's been a beast. Yes, Perks is right there with him, and Sven's been awesome, and Blabber's been great, but, you know, there's still Core JJ and everything on the other side, so I think this is a great series. I think these two teams are so fun to watch play, just like the lock-in tournament, where it was an absolute banger of his 5-game series. It was so fun, so exciting. Viewership's going to be massive, and you know, the loser's not out, so either way, it's not that big of a deal who really wins or loses. I mean, it is a huge deal who wins and loses, but like, the loser's not out, so they're still going to have a chance to play against TSM and 100 Thieves, and they're going to be really, really confident going into that matchup. But you know, coming into the tournament, I predicted TL to win the whole thing, and I don't see a reason to change that now. Again, on paper, I've said this throughout the whole year. I think TL is the most talented team in the LCS. Yes, they didn't have that great of a regular season. They still only finished 1 game behind Cloud9, and that's while everyone's saying that they look so terrible in the regular season, and Cloud9 fans saying that Cloud9 looks so good. They only won 1 more game than them, and now TL has been ramping up and looking way better than they did during the regular season. And not that Cloud9's looking bad at all, but I do think this will be an advantage for TL. They've had the history against them. They've shown that they can beat them, and Cloud9 shown that they can beat TL too. Obviously, that game went to 5 games, but that was lock-in. That was with Santorin coming in on like short notice. You know, Alfari just getting the United States. A lot of different things going on. I am favoring TL a little bit in the series, but again, I would not be surprised at all if we get another 5-game just slugfest from these two teams. They're both so talented, so fun to watch. Both teams have flaws. Both teams have strengths. Who knows what's going to come out? Obviously, best of 5 Perks is an absolute monster. Sven has been looking great, and I really, really do respect Blabber, but again, Fudge just leaving a little bit too much of question marks for me, and saying that I think Cloud9 is going to lose a series, it's not a slight on Cloud9 at all. I think very highly of Team Liquid, and the fact that I'm even predicting 5 games here shows that I think very highly of Cloud9 as well. I know Cloud9 fans always get on me, and they're always, you know, blah, 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 blah. There's no way to please everybody, but this is not a slight on Cloud9 at all. It is just the fact that I think TL's a little bit better than them. I think TL is going to be headed to the finals. And I think they are the best North American team. I think they would be the best representative at MSI. And that's even saying as somebody that obviously roots for TSM. So I have Cloud9 getting knocked down to this game on Saturday, April 10th. But then Sunday, we get the TSM 100 Thieves series. This should be a fun one. Obviously, 2 really big fan bases. 2 teams that seem to respect each other a lot. I know Spica said he thinks they match up really, really well against 100 Thieves. I know he was hoping that they would play against 100 Thieves. And I think TSM does match up really, really well with 100 Thieves. I think, obviously, one of TSM's biggest win conditions the whole year has been playing through Power of Evil and letting him scale up and just carry like a monster in the late game. And going up against Ryoma, I don't think Ryoma's really going to punish him early. I don't think Ryoma's going to stop TSM and Power of Evil from scaling up and getting to those late game team fights, where TSM might just be the best late game team in the entire LCS, might be the best team fighting team in the LCS. Yes, they have problems in their early game. Yes, they do some weird decision makings in the mid game, but in that late game, TSM is actually very, very clean, and it's straight 5v5 team fights, which are definitely meta right now. If things are close to even, I don't really think there's a better team in the LCS than TSM, and I definitely don't think 100 Thieves is even close to being in that discussion. Yes, 100 Thieves has ways that they can win, obviously. Lost is still very unexperienced, and if FBI and Huhi get going, they can pop off, but FBI and Huhi are also very punishable as well. Sword Art's been playing pretty well lately, and honestly, Lost has had a massive turnaround from the lock-in tournament and all that stuff going on. He has shown insane development over the course of the season. He has really been getting better and better, and has honestly been one of the more solid and consistent players on TSM. In this series, I think that Huni and Someday, you know, they both kind of want to do the same things, playing for the team a little bit, so I don't think 100 Thieves will be able to gain too much of an advantage there. And while Spica has been not, honestly, I've been a little bit critical of Spica lately. I don't think he's been showing up as much. I don't think he's been like playing as well as I think he is able to, but Closer is one of the slowest junglers in the LCS. He's not very punishing early. He's not really going to punish Spica for a lot of his inactivity in the early game, and I think that just sets up so well for TSM to be able to take on 100 Thieves. But again, these same players were the Golden Guardians team that gave TSM trouble last year, but TSM eventually figured it out and was able to take them down, so who knows? But to me, it is really disappointing that we're seeing Ryoma again in the mid lane. I think with Demonte playing, the roaming style, I think 100 Thieves would maybe have a little bit better of a chance. I think it'd be a little bit more interesting. I just think making Ryoma go toe-to-toe with Power of Evil, playing control mages, Orianna, Azir, that type of stuff, I just don't think it's going to end well for 100 Thieves. I don't know. TSM hasn't been super clean and consistent, so I could see 100 Thieves stealing a game for them. But I think TSM is very confident against 100 Thieves, and I think they have every reason and every right to be. I will be predicting a 3-1 for TSM. I think 100 Thieves going to be going home. I think, TSM are really heavy favorites. I don't think many people are going to be taking 100 Thieves in this series. And then who knows what the offseason is going to hold for 100 Thieves, if they're going to make some mid lane adjustments, or Papa Smithy's going to keep riding out with Ryoma and until he loses his job or something, I guess. I mean, who knows exactly what the future is, but they obviously need to get some things under control. And I think this would be really fun. I hope this is what happens, because I think C9 TSM would be great. I think whoever wins that, taking on TL, would be great. I think, C9, TSM, and TL being the final 3 teams would be the best for entertainment, excitement, best for viewership, and just the most fun overall, the most kind of compelling everything, because those are obviously the 3 biggest orgs. I think the 3 best teams right now, and the trash talk memes, everything would be really spicy. But that is pretty much it for this video today, ladies and gentlemen. These are my updated LCS playoff predictions. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy this video. I would appreciate it so much. Leave a comment down below. What do you guys think is going to happen in the matchups coming up this weekend? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on anything we talked about in today's video. Subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. Hopefully I catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace!